my name is Valerie Steele-Hancock, and I'm an English instructor here at Atlanta Technical College. On today's episode of Culture of Caring, we will be talking to Keisha Hudson from the Business and Public Service Technologies Department. Welcome, Dean Hudson.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm excited.
I know, I'm excited to have you here. So let's start by talking about your journey here. How did you get started at Atlanta Technical College?
Well, it's been, oh my goodness, 2010 is when I started as an adjunct instructor in the Paralegal Studies program. And then in 2014, I became a full-time instructor in the same program and the program chair. So I ran Paralegal Studies and also was the driving force behind its ABA approval in 2017. And then, I don't know, after several years of doing it, I love my job. I love being a program chair. I love being in the classroom. I love paralegals and paralegal studies. I think it's a great industry, but I just felt like I needed a new challenge. And it was a opportune moment where the prior dean got a new opportunity, and I felt the timing was right to interview for the dean position. I'd been here for almost 10 years. I knew all the players, and I just felt like instead of, I wanted to have more of a say or more of an impact in how the division and my coworkers and how things worked. So I decided to step up, and here I am now, dean.
And we're happy that you're a dean. So today's theme or topic is, culture of caring. And that's something that we are trying to promote around campus. So from the Paralegal Studies Department to your current role, how would you say that you try to make sure that a culture of caring is something that you focus on within all of the departments that you currently are in charge of?
Well, that's a good question. The culture of caring that the college as a whole kind of supports is definitely prevalent throughout how I try to lead the division. I think caring for the individuals and the students comes out of our purpose, right? So I try to make sure that I understand the purpose and the why of all of my instructors or all of my faculty, and ensuring that they have the support, or that they know that they have my support, and getting to that purpose so that the caring for the students and what we do, because if you care about what you do and how you do it and how it's perceived for the students and doing it at a certain level,
right,
then the caring will just kind of flow from there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I believe that it's something that is, the caring is more on a action. Like caring comes from your action.
Right.
Caring comes from how you comport yourself in the classroom,
Right.
how you comport yourself with your colleagues, how you comport yourself with your interactions and engagement in the college life as a faculty member.
That's a good point. Do you think that your experience in the classroom first actually has impacted that, and as far as how you kind of lead? Do you feel that your classroom experience is really, a part of a big part of that?
100%. 100%. I don't ever want to leave what I felt or how I was in the classroom. I think all of us in these roles are educators first. Most
Right.
of us have come from the classroom, right?
Right.
So that's your why, right? Is the students and getting them. And I think also being a teacher here at Atlanta Tech
Right.
kind of really helps me with what I do. And so I think I can not collaborate. What's the word I'm looking for? I can empathize a lot with what my team is
Right.
going through, and I kind of think about myself, okay, well, how would I want that to be approached, or how would I want that to happen, or what would I want someone to say? Because sometimes it can be a very thankless job
Right.
in the classroom. You always get the students who, tell you what you didn't do,
Right.
or complaining. You never hear that student who's had a great experience just goes off into the night, gets a great job, and never says anything to you again.
Right.
So I want to make sure that the faculty knows that I see them.
Right.
That I see what they're doing in the classroom, even though there may be a student complaint. I
Right.
know that you're there giving 100%.
Right.
Every day, and every student in that classroom isn't going to be happy, but that's okay.
Right.
Because you're showing up every day, giving that 100%, and pouring into them.
Right.
So that one off is.
Yeah, I think that that's going to happen no matter what, right? Especially, we go through that in the English department as well. And sometimes I think you brought up a good point, not forgetting about your connection. Being a leader, which is great, you're advancing within your field, but not forgetting that classroom connection, because that's, again, where it starts for that culture of caring for us. Like, we're supposed to be working for the students. So that classroom experience, I think, is really key, because, again, it kind of guides you in how you're going to make sure that everyone in the campus or throughout the campus is working toward that same goal.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And it's all about, taking ownership
Right.
of the little piece of the pie that you have.
Right.
I'm a daddy's girl to a certain extent. And I'll never forget, he told me one time, he said, if you take care of what you have ownership of, and everybody else does the same, right?
Right.
Then I don't have to worry about you and you, because we're all taking care of what we have responsibility for.
Right.
So I can't control what the students are going to say, what they're going to do, but I can try to do my best within what I've been given stewardship. And that's what I try to do. So I really feel like the accountability and that ownership that I bring to the leadership role has been helpful.
Well, that's great. And again, that culture of caring, it definitely shows. You and I have talked several times about student experiences and what we've gone through in the classroom. And I can definitely say that you and I have talked about the importance of making sure that, the students know that you care about them beyond, just turning in an essay or completing an assignment, but that they know that you really do care as a person about them. So thank you for that explanation and for your leadership with that culture of caring in the forefront. Another question I'd like to talk to you about is Alexander Denhiger represents caring leadership, and he once had a quote that stated, "When I talk to managers, I get the feeling that they are important. When I talk to leaders, I get the feeling that I am important." What do you think about that quote, and how does that quote relate to you?
I think they are important.
Mm-hmm.
I think a colleague recently said something to me that kind of stuck with me. And he said, and it was said to me, "You'll say you don't know." I don't know a lot of stuff. I've just been here year and a half. I don't know a lot. And I think I'm humble enough to acknowledge that. And I think good leaders, now, just because I don't know it doesn't mean I can't find it out.
Right.
It doesn't mean I can't figure it out.
Right.
And don't have the intelligence to be able to, learn new things. And like I said initially, that's why I wanted this job, to be able to learn new things and expand myself. So, but I still think that humility is a big part of leadership.
Absolutely.
And being able to say, look, I don't know this, but I will find this out and understand how it impacts what we do here in your classroom, so that we can both figure this out together. Right. And also, I think being collaborative, I try to get input as much as possible. I mean, there's certain things, let me take a step back. I have expectations. Right. Again, daddy's girl. You had certain expectations that how you had to comport yourself as I was growing up. So I have high expectations of myself and the division. And so I think it's important that we all strive to get there together. So it's more of a collaborative thing. And I don't have all the answers. I don't want to have all the, all the answers. This is a large division.
Right.
But I feel like I have a great team in place and a lot of good minds that can help us get there.
You brought up an excellent point. We were talking in one of the other podcasts regarding teamwork and the importance of collaborating with our colleagues outside of our space and outside of our division, outside of our department. How important would you say that is within your particular role now as dean?
Well, you know that.
I know. Yes, you and I have collaborated as well. Yes.
I think it's fundamental that the no one department here is an island. The faculty might be maybe the spoke in the wheel, but it can't turn without financial aid, without admissions. And so we all have to kind of talk to each other.
Right.
I don't want to do financial aid.
Right.
Okay, I don't do numbers, but I need to know how it affects the students in order to be able to not say, well, just go to financial aid.
Right.
Go to the next person. If I can know some basics about it, then I can give that student a much more caring experience with me because I'm not just sending them off to the next person.
Exactly.
So again, I don't think people need to know the ins and outs of everybody's job, but kind of understanding maybe some basics and how it affects the students who are in your atmosphere or who come into your orbit is helpful. And so, the other departments, you and I had collaborated a lot because I taught paralegal studies.
Right, exactly.
A lot of writing.
Exactly.
A lot of reading. So, we would have conversations about, well, what are you teaching? What's the curriculum like? Because I wanted to make sure that what I was teaching when I got them was in line with what you were teaching them in your English classes. So I thought that was extremely helpful to me. And I'm hoping to do much more of that, kind of understanding how those foundational courses and what's taught to them will resonate when they get to the occupational.
Absolutely, because it's all connected.
It's all connected.
It really is. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that teamwork idea because I think going forward, we're going to have to probably do more, like you said, cross-collaborating outside of our departments, outside of our divisions.
Absolutely.
For the students, overall success. Because it is something that I encounter in the classroom is that students always ask me, why do I need English? I want to be a welder or I want to be a nurse. Why do I need English? And you and I have had conversations about that because you still have to communicate and write well. You're going to be writing reports and things like that. You may have to have your own business, so you need to write well and communicate well. And so I think we all get those questions. Why? The why. And you mentioned the why is important. Understanding why we're doing what we're doing and how that relates to that culture of caring idea because all of us are all connected on this campus. And so I love the fact that you recognize that as well. So.
And then when they're working, our main mission is to create or to provide students with opportunities to be able to create lifestyles or to change lives, right?
Absolutely.
Through the workplace, whether it's a welder, aviation, a nurse, an accountant. And again, you got to be able to communicate, you got to be able to adapt, you got to be able to pivot. And, back to, we've done in BPST, Business and Public Service Technologies, we've done collaborations with the CWI. The Center for Workforce Innovation, on resume writing, on LinkedIn. Yeah. So we've got you in class and you know everything there is to know about accounting, but you don't have a resume. You're not on LinkedIn.
Right.
So there has to be that collaboration. I don't know how we take our students to the next level without the collaboration of the other departments. How do you stay in class if your financial aid is not appropriate? So we need to collaborate with financial aid to have an understanding of, how to keep the student in class.
Exactly.
And to get their FAFSAs done. And if you haven't done your FAFSA, you should do it now.
Good reminder. But you made me think of the things that you were mentioning were, I think of them as puzzle pieces. Like I've said this before. And when we all put our pieces together, then we have a complete puzzle, right? And that puzzle should represent our culture of caring here at ATC. Right?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Puzzles. I'm a piece of a puzzle.
Yeah, and I'm a piece as well. So together we start.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Picture.
Exactly.
I love it.
So my last question would be to you: if there are some potential students out there watching the podcast or listening, considering applying to Atlanta Tech or going to college, for the first time, what advice would you give them?
What advice? That's a good question. I actually have a senior myself, so let me think about. I try to tell them to take risks, to not be afraid of stepping out of your comfort zone, and taking advantage of all that college life avails you. So Atlanta Technical College has a vibrant student activities. We have a lot of clubs. We have faculty that, again, pour into you. Like, we're not just in class lecturing. Like, we give you real world experience and give of ourselves.
Right.
So take advantage of that. So that's what I would say. I think that's one of the things that really sets us apart. Is that culture of caring, that's just not a tag.
Right.
That's something that the teachers and the faculty here really do, and the staff. I mean, they work tirelessly to get students where they need to be, and so I think that's what sets us apart, not only as a technical college in the system, but technical education in general, because our end goal is to get you to be a valued member of the communities in which you live.
Absolutely. I think you summed that up so well. On that note, thank you for being on our podcast today.
Thank you
Appreciate
for having
you.
me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. You're so welcome. And as we come to the end of another episode, we want to thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time with us for the Culture of Caring edition. We hope you found this episode informative, thought-provoking, and entertaining. If you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you can be notified about future episodes. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for topics you would like us to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love hearing from our listeners, and we are always looking for ways to improve and grow. Until next time, continue to stay strong so that you can finish strong.